Then I'm going to introduce Luke, who is our man of the hour here. Luke White is our product manager for Operate, which, if you're here, you probably know is one of the new product offerings from Jump. It is our back office suite, and we're really excited to have Luke telling you about it today. So just going to wait one more minute for everybody. People are still coming in at quite a quick pace here. So yeah, if you want to tell us in the chat where you're coming from, we'd love to hear it. I think our team is all over the place. Nathan and I are in Salt Lake City. Ali is in Atlanta, and Luke, you're in Florida, right?
Yeah, you're right. Yep, Tampa, Florida.
Okay, we've got someone from Detroit. Great. Naples, Florida, Chicago, Colorado. Love it. Charleston, West Virginia. Terrific. Okay, well, Luke, why don't we turn the time over to you? And I know you've got this lovely deck that you're going to be showing us. And so welcome to everybody. And I'll turn the time over to Luke.
Excellent. Thanks, Nyland. Yeah, so we'll start with a deck here, and then we can get into a proper demo and Q&A from there. So, like Nyland was saying, I'm a product manager here, responsible for our Operate product. And so really, I've been meeting with a number of advisors and their teams to really understand what you all have going on from a operations side of the house, and through those conversations, really influenced a lot of what we've built here. So really the big picture is that Operate is designed to remove much of the back office manual workflow tasks. So from client onboarding, but also through the entire life cycle of the client. So we look to automate things like onboarding workflows and client data intake and data extraction from documents, as well as the ad hoc email communication that always is coming in. So we'll get into more of really what Operate is, and like I said, a demo as well, but quickly to kind of set the stage for some context here on why we built the product. Really, it's, again, through those conversations that I've been having, a pretty consistent pattern has started to emerge in that as firms grow, the operational complexities grow along with it, and operations can quickly become a bottleneck here. So whether that be from, say, onboarding taking too long, or extracting data from documents takes a huge amount of effort, or the client follow-ups kind of getting lost in an email, really, which all ultimately leads to having to hire more people to be able to grow the business. So in my mind, a lot of that all boils down to that so many of these processes are still so manually intensive. So I'll hear things like onboarding clients is great. We're looking to grow the firm, but it just means that much more admin work. Or we've realized half of our client data lives in emails and PDFs and the various tools we use and in people's heads. So things can just fall through the cracks. And then in these conversations, one of the next things I often ask is, okay, awesome. Well, what have you tried? And typically it boils down to one or two or both of these things. It's either hire more staff and or go the DIY approach, whether that be stitching together individual point solutions or hiring consultants to build custom workflows, really kind of bespoke to your firm, or even going the vibe coding route and trying to build it themselves. And honestly, those are obviously completely valid and good approaches, and they work. But what I've found in the conversations that I've been having is that when they don't pan out for whatever reason, it seems to be folks are looking for a tool that integrates with their existing tech stack, but B, also doesn't add yet another tool to that ever-growing tech stack. And then, of course, can automate much of these manual tasks and actions automatically off the shelf, or can be customized. So really, that's all to say that has been the influence for us building Operate and ultimately the capabilities within it. So now, really, what is this thing? Operate as I've been alluding to, is a way to automate a majority of those manual operations by accelerating client onboarding and allowing you to use email more efficiency and ultimately enabling you to scale more easily without simply throwing people at the problem. So a few examples here, and then we'll get into actually seeing these in a demo. But taking the onboarding situation, an example out of the gates here, where I'll often talk to folks and they'll say, yeah, we'll send a fillable PDF or questionnaire to the client. They fill it in, we get it back, and then we have to manually add all of that data into our downstream systems, such as the CRM and the financial planning tool. So we'll see this in action in a bit, but really the whole point here is that we're aiming to remove that manual effort of rekeying the data and entering it into those systems. It's really all meant to easily flow downstream. Another twist to that, though, is that it seems to be about 50-50 whether advisors send intake forms to clients or not. I'll often hear that that they prefer to collect that information more organically, directly on a meeting with the client. And so the jump kind of twist to this is that that works too. So if, say, Nyland's the advisor, I'm the client, and she knows all the information she needs to ask me for an onboarding, the data she's looking to collect for onboarding, immediately following that call, she can hit populate from transcript. And that's really what this is showing here, is that we'll flow that data into or populate the form directly in there from the transcript. So she wouldn't even need to send me it at all. She can review it, say, yep, all looks good, push it into the downstream systems. Or another common use case here is that maybe she was able to collect 90% of the data on that call, and maybe I didn't have my driver's license or whatever, for whatever reason. She can say, hey, Luke, this is all the data that we collected here. Review it. Let us know if there's any changes or make changes directly, and add in these 5 pieces of data that we need to collect and attach a photo of your license directly there. So the whole point here is it's flexible, whether it be from client to client or advisor to advisor, whatever the process, your process is, we're trying to fit that in. So that, again, the whole point is here, so that you don't have to have, say, someone jotting the information down if it's on a call and then rekeying that over into the CRM and financial planning tools. A similar vein to that is with documents. So I know many folks, arguably all, are collecting documents during the onboarding process. And so the thing here that we're really trying to focus on is never having to copy and paste individual data points out of those documents into the systems again. So instead, kind of simply upload the document into Jump. We'll extract the data out, suggest updates to those downstream systems. You review them and push the data over again, so that you're not looking to have a PDF on one screen, copy and pasting over into the tool. And then the final area here that we're initially focused on, but that I hear a lot through these conversations, is just how manual emails are. So with Operate, we have an email assistant that lives directly within your inbox. So all of the context you need to respond to a client email and take action on it, like assigning a task to a team member in the CRM, but directly within your email, is all available there. So you're not having to hop around to various tools. So with that, I'll hop into a demo here, but if it wasn't obvious, and really the whole the ROI from Operate comes from eliminating much of those manual processes, so that teams and yourself can kind of move on to higher value activities and servicing the client and growing the business and all of that. So I am going to flip over to a demo here. Really, this all amounts to 3 core features within Operate. It's SmartForms, document intelligence, and an email assistant. So we'll start with SmartForms. We have a library of forms that you can use off the shelf, or more realistically, you could build it yourself within the tool, or we would work with you to recreate a form that you already have or that the data you're looking to collect directly into Jump. So, nevertheless, the advisor, the team member can send off the form to the client ahead of or prospect ahead of that initial meeting. They'll receive an email with a secure link in it. And so the reason we did it that way is so that they don't have to say create a new portal or remember another login. It's all done through that secure link. They populate the data there. And of course, this example only has 4 fields on it. It could be as extensive as need be, but they can also attach documents directly here as well, so that you don't have to send, say, a PDF as well as a separate link for collecting the documents or a link for the form and then another one for the documents. It's all just one here. Once they submit it, you and the team receive a notification back. And then ultimately you can review the individual or the data that they provided. And the key piece here is that each one of these fields can be mapped up to specific fields in your CRM and financial planning tool. So again, you don't have to rekey everything over there. It's review it and perhaps make edits if need be and push that data into those tools. As I was mentioning before, if you don't want to send out a form, great, that works too. Immediately after a call, like I was saying, you can populate from transcript. It'll flow in all this information here. You or the team member can review it and push it into the CRM and or send it over to the client for review for adding additional information or validating that the data that you collected is accurate. One last use case I'll pile on here too is for annual client reviews. So let's say I've been a client of Nyland's for 5 years. She obviously knows my address and my kids' names and all of that. We can populate, she could populate a form from all the data she has available within the CRM and financial planning tool, send it to me ahead of our annual meeting and say, hey, Luke, has anything changed here? Maybe I change address or an employer or what have you, but it also could add in, these are the things that I want to talk about in this meeting. So really the point being there is that me as the end client, I don't have to start from scratch and fill it all in myself. So that's SmartForms. I think Nyland alluded to this, but I'm going to kind of breeze through here and then we'll loop back around for questions and we can always come back to this too. So that's SmartForms. The other one is document intelligence. So if the client or prospect included a document directly on that form that you'd sent out before, you can kick off the document intelligence process directly here or upload documents into Jump. And so when you do, we then extract all of the data off of it. So on the left is a sample Fidelity statement. On the right is essentially a text version of that or a markdown version of the data. So then you can copy and paste data off of here or copy the whole thing. Cool. But really the efficiency comes in that each will then take the data that we extracted and map it up to the downstream systems that you selected. So say CRM and financial planning, we'll look at that data that came out and find the relevant data points to those tools and then either compare it to previous, what the record currently is, or suggest updates to what's in there already, or create them new. So that's document intelligence. Key probably use case here is just I'll often, when talking with advisors, I'll often say that like getting going with financial planning is a big lift because there's just so much information you need to collect to make a meaningful financial plan. And so this is maybe a part of the solution for how to do that. Simply upload the documents, extract the data, and push it over into those tools. So that's forms, document intelligence. The last piece here is an email assistant. So this comes to life as an Outlook add-in. We'll soon be adding capabilities for Gmail as well. But the key piece here is that it will summarize the email. It lives directly within Outlook. It'll summarize the email, and then it will identify any contacts or clients related to that email and pull in context about that client, whether it be previous jump meetings or the forms data you collected or documents, or of course the integrations data. So whether that be through the data connected coming in from the CRM, financial planning, portfolio management, what have you. Any integrations that are linked to that client, we'll pull it in for context so that we can then draft an email that has that full context. It's not just a generic response to this email. It's like, okay, we can get actual data that relates to that particular client and their situation. So that's one aspect of it. And as you can see here, I was playing around with this before we hopped on. But then you can also chat with it and say, hey, look through my calendar, find times for us to get together early next week, incorporate that into the email, and it will do that. But also you could use this chat to say, in this example, they're asked about giving a gift to their daughter to help with down payment. Instead of having to go over to financial planning tool and find the particular fact or account and then the value for that account, you could just simply type it in here and say, hey, what's the cash balance of Ted's account? And it'll respond back with that value. Or you can say, hey, what are Luke's son's names? And it will go out to the CRM and pull that in as well. The other piece to call out here is that this, as you can see by the name here, is built on top of our AI Associate, which is the rebranded and pretty significantly enhanced Ask Anything tool within Jump. And so the reason I call that out is because one of the key enhancements with the AI Associate, beyond just being able to go much deeper and more broadly with the querying aspect of it, like tell me Luke's son's names or what we talked about last time, it can also take action. So in this example, if they were to say, hey, wire me 30 grand, you could create a task within the CRM for somebody on the team that says, hey, follow up with Ted to make sure that this is legit, or whatever the workflow may be from there. But, or more simply, if I had emailed Nylan and said, hey, I moved from North Street to Main Street, she could immediately from here say, hey, go and update the CRM and financial planning with Luke's new address. So those are really the core features within Jump, within Operate. There's a whole lot more coming here. We've had great interest in the product. I had great conversations with a number of folks. So really excited about really where we're going with this. And there's a whole lot more to come here. I guess maybe a peek into the future is that I think it's clear that now that we have these kind of core primitives or building blocks in place, being forms and documents and meetings and integrations, really being able to tie them together more for kind of workflows that fit your the workflows that exist within your practice, whether that be say, hey, we're looking to onboard John and Jane Doe, send them the form. Okay, after it comes in, let me know and review it. Okay, and then process the documents and step it through as an example. So that's also where we're going with this. So the last piece I'll leave you here with here before we check out the questions is how we think about price. So Operate can be added on to any Jump license, whether it's a full Jump seat or a light seat user or just used entirely independently. The point being here is that you can mix and match for whoever needs the capabilities. It doesn't have to be like the same across the entire firm. Some could have all meet, grow, operate. Some could just have operate. Some could have combination. But then of course it comes with the standard Jump responsive customer support, enterprise grade security, all the integrations that we have, a single Jump login. So it's all a unified platform here. And then on the right, as we think about price, like I was talking about earlier, alternatives that typically here are add additional headcount, that could be 50 to 100 grand, or individual point solutions or consultants, and then just the overall advisor time lost. And so that's how we landed on $50 per user per month for Operate. All right, so that's what I have to share. I see we have a number of questions in here. I'll quickly glance at these, or Nylan, Allie, Nathan, also feel free to um, touch on these. The first one about the secure link, does it have MFA, multi-factor? So this has multi-factor authentication. It doesn't. So our approach out of the gates here is to rely on the MFA that exists within the email client. Um, I guess maybe a piece to call out here in conference, this is a common question, is we were really trying to reduce the friction, but also, of course, have the security of it. And so we're relying on having it directly available within the email. The piece is that it's like if Nylan were to send this to me ahead of a meeting, she can't like copy a link and send it to me. It can only be done through, hey, send this to Luke and his email. Like there is no link for her to copy, so there's not concern of her accidentally emailing the wrong client or with the wrong information or texting somebody a link that's a different client. It's all tied to that contact. But completely valid question, and that's our approach. We are considering those kind of adding those other areas of security. But again, we were really looking to keep it secure, but without having to add in friction to the process. Looks like Ali, you're handling one of these. The question around Cetera. We're meeting with all of our largest, well, partners in general. I'd have to check back on Cetera. I can have our CSM, the customer success manager, follow up on that. But we are working closely with our largest, well, again, all of our strategic partners here to get these things approved that need to be. So that is a focus, and we can definitely follow up on that specifically. Um, So answer there a question about I forget can Nylan, quick logistical question. Should probably ask this. Can folks see these questions or can I only see these questions?
Um,
So I'll read them back.
yeah, read them back.
Okay.
But if they're in
Question is, would the AI associate show up in a third-party email tool like Gmail, like Missive, or just directly in the email app? Today, it's only an add-in within Outlook, the email assistant that is. We are going to be extending that functionality more broadly to Gmail and perhaps even like just any browser-based email client. But today, the email assistant add-in, which is effectively the AI associate, is directly available within Outlook only or within Jump. Oh, here we go. Going through these. Will Jump send out automated calendar reminders to clients like Calendly does? We have 3 office, need to be able to switch locations. This is that we actually, and you might be alluding to the new scheduling capabilities that we rolled out. That's part of the meat package. So if you have Jump today, you have access to it. I'll answer it though in that. I believe we can send out reminders. This is maybe one I'll follow up to with my product management peer who owns this. I believe we do send out email reminders, but there is also enhancements coming to that tool. But yes, I believe we can send out email reminders ahead of scheduling an event. And if not, it's coming very soon, but we can follow up directly as well to get you a firm answer on that. It looks like the same question around Osaic approval, similar answer there to Cetera's. We're working with Osaic to get everything approved by them, and we can definitely follow up specifically when we have all the approvals in place. And then there's in a second part of that question being when is the Redtail integration coming? We have, oh, okay, I guess my bad. That's probably specific to Osaic. I'll also follow up on that because like core retail Jump, we have a pretty extensive Redtail integration and you might be even alluding to the new enhancement there where it's now Jump can live directly inside of Redtail as well.
Luke, can I interrupt you
Sure.
for just a second as you're answering these? For the
Sure.
ones that involve Osaic and some specific questions, are you comfortable with my giving your email address? so that people can reach out to you directly. I can, yeah, well, I'll give our an email address in here, and if because I see this is an anonymous attendee who asked this question, so we'll yeah we'll I'll give an address here in the answer box so that you can reach out if you don't hear from us directly after this call.
Next one is Operate available to those solo advisors on the ramping plan? Yes, yes. Short answer is yes. You can add it as we have ramping core and scale. Core and scale are legacy products that eventually will kind of phase out, not immediately or anything like that. But ramping is staying on, and yes, you could add this to ramping as well. Um, Question about are all these features live for current users? They are the AI intake forms and document intelligence are live today within, of course, the Operate package. And the email assistant is as well, with the caveat being that we're just waiting for final Microsoft App Store approval, which we expect to come within the coming days. And so you may have seen like beta around that in the last slide that I shared. It's built just looking for final approval. And once it is, then really everything will be generally available through Operate. Um, Same, I know, so I'll kind of skip past any of the broker-dealer questions. Kind of similar answer for all of these in that we'll have client success managers follow up specific to any of those enterprises that need approval. But again, we are working with all of them. Um, So there's a question about how our AI intake forms are different from other competitors or something like Precise FP. Precise FP also a great tool for collecting the data. Really, I think it comes down to the jump spin to it and I guess the flexibility of being able to populate those forms from a transcript as well as sending them off to the client. Actually, I didn't even mention this, but you could also you could populate a form from a document too. So I think that flexibility is really where I key in on maybe a differentiator. And then once we have that data within Jump, you can include it into anything like the AI associate for asking a question. So all kind of consolidated under one tool and has the synergies, if you will, across the products. Um, so the question is, what other features will be added in the future? And are you offering demos or trial period? So we can definitely get into more of the specifics, but really it's the focus is around continuing to enhance the capabilities based on kind of individual point solution or point feedback that we hear through the conversations that I'm having with a number of advisors. So more specifically, kind of as I was alluding to, is that now that we have these core pieces in place, being able to build custom workflows around them and in an agentic way is a big focus of where we're going with this. As well as there's a question earlier about does this work with Schwab forms? That is exactly something that we're investigating right now and the custodians and how can we make that aspect of account opening that much more efficient too. That should be coming very, very shortly within this quarter, I would even say. And there was a question about the trial period. Yes, you can trial operate really all of our products, but yeah, you can absolutely trial operate. And we can follow up. I know there's a link out on the Jump website, but we can also follow up with a link to schedule time to have more of a discussion, which will probably be with me. We can get into kind of specific questions or really next steps, or we can connect you with, again, an account manager here. Love all these questions. This is great. Appreciate the engagement here. And we have another 15, right? I'm not Not going on? Okay, cool. The question about how robust is document extraction tool? Can it extract key data from estate documents? Yes. It's very robust. How I'd kind of answer that is we have very high confidence in our ability to extract the data out. Pushing the data into the downstream systems all depends on what's available for us to write to. So if there's a field that we can write to, we'll be able to map that up. But around estate documents in particular, interesting use case that I've seen folks use document intelligence for is uploading, say, complex trust document, and then querying our AI associate to say, hey, summarize Luke's trust document for me, or who are the beneficiaries on the account, who are the entities involved. So that is a benefit that I probably should have called out with the document intelligence is that after we process it, we have that data available not only to push into the downstream systems, but also so that you can query it in a tool like the AI Associate. And I just realized there's a almost similar question. Can I drop a will in and get a summary? Yes, yep, spot on. So the question around if the intake form doesn't use two-factor, how is the client data kept secure when uploading confidential statements? So I guess I'll kind of take a step back in general and say that security is like our founders, they're kind of one of their top pillars and leaders and just some jump in general because we recognize how important that is to get right and the significant ramifications if there were ever anything to happen. So we have a lot of those, like the security and compliance features built in to jump kind of natively because of the sensitive nature of the meetings and the notes and transcripts that we capture from that. So that is of the utmost kind of priority in everything we're doing. We do have a whole trust center too that we can follow up with and send a link out to. Of course, we're SOC 2 Type 2 certified. That's again jump more broadly. So security is very important to us. Around the forms in particular, again, it's all encrypted links securely. That's also one I'd be happy to follow up with more kind of specific details on exactly what that looks like and how we're doing that. But it's not just like kind of an open web page where you just start typing information in or uploading documents to. It is very much locked down and again scoped specifically to the client's email. Um, Okay, good question here is if in the fact finder, can you ask any questions or does it have to be a destination in the CRM for the data to flow? No, you can ask, it doesn't have to be linked. You could ask any question. If there is somewhere for us to push it to and you create that link, then yes, we'll be able to push that directly over. But you could link none of the fields too, and when the client fills it out, you can still get that data back in. It doesn't have to be a field in the CRM or the financial planning tool. It can just be a standard form. In its free form, different types of questions, whether it be single select or multi-select, text, date, what have you. Can you review how to access the tools that are currently available and built in for current users? So Operate is an entirely new product, new feature. So how we'd enable it is you can reach out to us, or if you already know who your CSM is, reach out to them, or again, we'll post a link for how to get in touch with us. But we can have a conversation and then just simply enable it on your account too. But it's not, these features aren't just it's an entirely new package, new set of features. Similar question around enterprises. Yes, there are enterprise agreements in place, so that'll be kind of handled on a kind of case by case basis based on the enterprise agreements, volume discounts, all of that. For the email integration specifically, is there an additional integration that needs to be turned on with our CRM? We use Advise on. So no, nothing else needs to be enabled with the. Um, I don't know if you're currently using if we're putting out beta programs around, or we had a beta program around the email assistant. Um, Once that goes live, I think all of that will flow in naturally. But and so you don't need to do anything in particular. As long as your CRM is linked, in this case, Advise on, then no, it will work for the email assistant. Um, if I didn't answer your question though, obviously definitely feel free to follow up there. Um, And yes, on can intake form responses be linked directly to custom fields we created in Wealthbox? Yes, for Wealthbox or the other CRMs, it works for custom fields as well. So really, what we're doing on a the technical back end here is we're pulling the quote unquote schema from the CRM on all the fields that can be written to, and making those available to add into the form so that if they're even if it's a custom field or a standard field, yes, you'll be able to add those into the form and link it over into Wealthbox in your example or CRM in general. Cool.
Luke,
That was
there are some questions in the chat.
oh, okay.
Uh,
We'll go over there now.
not quite done. So yes, some of these might have answered already. Starting with John's question, to what extent can the intake forms be customized? There's quite a few following that as well.
Okay, see it. Cool. We can build them out. Really to ask any question. You can add any question in there. Our intent is to be able to mimic, if you have an existing form, that we can mimic that in Jump. As I was saying, and maybe I forget the timeline of answering these, but yeah, it doesn't have to be linked specifically to a field over in the CRM or financial planning. You can ask any question. Again, we will obviously we built the tool and I think it's in an intuitive manner to be able to create your own templates and be able to edit them. But we also can get you going too with the team here and get you set up on creating those forms in Jump. Does Jump know the difference on forms, for example, statements, tax docs, estate plans, etc.? Yes and no. I'll say we can take in any type of document and then we'll parse the data out of it. It's not as important to like the Jump processing, really what kind of document it is. There is a capability to say for you to label it as, say, a tax doc, so that when you go and ask, say, hey, summarize the tax document that I received. It could help essentially from an organization standpoint, but as we extract the data out, we'll go and look to push it into the downstream. Anything that's applicable to that downstream system, we'll look to surface up. If there is a more specific reason on like what we're looking, well, why it needs to know the document type, I'd actually love to hear that too, because I think I alluded to this at the beginning, but yeah, any feedback around these tools as you begin to use them or particular use cases, I'd love to hear those too, whether it be today or in the future, because we're only going to continue to enhance this tool and again, really dial it in for all of your use cases. Um, so which financial planning software does Operate currently integrate with? eMoney, Right Capital, and Asset Map. We're working on others beyond that, but today it works with those. The good point on I hear you on the MFA. Smart is, since we are using, if you connect your email integration into Jump in general, and then presumably everything you send out from your email is automatically captured with Smart, then this will also be captured as well. that is maybe one point to note that some of the feedback on the compliance side on where we're going with this too is that, hey, we need to have something like a BCC of the client's responses sent to a compliance office. That's something that we're working on now too. But the reason I call it the Smarts piece is that say the forms email is sent through your email and then thus would be captured. Reading through these. Um, I'm not entirely sure I followed this one, but does the roadmap include pre-meeting and meeting documents, i.e. client profile document, dossier that consolidates data from CRM, et cetera? Um, from a we have a pre-meeting prep capability today in app, and so I'm going to take the if I go astray, definitely comment and say that's not what I was asking. We have a pre-meeting prep capability today within the core Jump product or the Meet product as we're calling it now. In that it will pull in CRM data, financial planning, and portfolio data from portfolio management systems, estate planning tools, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody we integrate with, and you can pull that data into Jump into pre-meeting prep, and that actually just got a pretty significant enhancement that we've started to roll out this week or even last. But I think we're getting it to everybody early next week, if not already. And so yes, in that our pre-meeting prep is a tool that's available today, pretty robust without more sources than previously, more customizability to it and going deeper with the sources that we do integrate with. Um, Oh, okay. Now I'm seeing the follow-up. More around creating custom PDF reports and determine which, almost like as a client output aspect to it. That's actually a really interesting one that I'd love to follow up with you more on. It's something we've heard and are thinking about a lot is instead of just being kind of internal or advisor and team facing, can we create a portion of this that could be delivered immediately after a meeting or something of that nature? I'd actually definitely want to follow up and kind of get your take on that and kind of and your feedback to really where our heads are at around that. Cool. I lost my place, so I'm scrolling. All right, I think I'm back. May have addressed this because again now I'm crossing timelines here, but how do I add it to my current account? Either reach out to your client success manager if you know them, or follow a link to through our marketing website, the Jump website, and we'll get you set up there. I think we talked about the custom records. All right, did I miss any?
We have
I think we got-
we have two more left in the
Oh,
Q&A.
oh, okay.
I think you might just want to reiterate the cost.
Okay, awesome. I just saw two others coming in the chat. We'll go there and then back over the Q&A. For the email tool, will it only read/search the email that is tied to our Jump login? That's a very good question. It will, if there's, you know what, I kind of want to make sure I answer this correctly. So I'm probably going to follow up with you on this one, but it will if there whatever data is associated to the client or contact within Jump should be able to be pulled in. The email is a bit of a different story though, in that it is scoped to the email that is connected. But let me follow up on that because I think we had an exact discussion about this internally when we were putting this together. I realize we're at time now, but I'll quickly answer this. Is that appreciate everybody who joined and hung on through this long Q&A session. Actually, quickly before I finish that question, Nylan, I should have given you a second here. Anything else to say from a logistics standpoint, follow up, anything like that?
No, we will be sending out the recording of this to any registered attendee or any registrant for this webinar, all of the attendees today, as well as those who weren't able to actually make it. And let's see, I'm putting some emails in the chat right here that you're welcome to follow up with if you have additional questions. So thank you for joining us today. You're welcome to stay on.
Awesome.
Luke is willing to answer more questions, but we also understand you have other places to be. So thanks for joining us.
Yes, agreed. Thank you all for joining. So to finish the answer about the email piece, I'm actually going to follow up on that because we were when we were building this, we didn't want it to go out too broadly and extend into emails the that the user doesn't have access to natively. And so that is how we implemented it. Let me follow up on exactly the details of that, but we tried to scope it down to only the data that you have access to. Um, and then there's questions in the chat or over there. Cost. So retail pricing again is $50 per user per month for Operate, and that can be added on to any Jump license or user. Um, and again, to kind of mix and match, doesn't have to be across the firm. It can be whoever needs the capabilities. We use a lot of client-facing summaries too, financial summary and client profile. Currently, it's all manual input to Excel and PDF. Um, I don't really know what the question is there. Apologies. Feel free to clarify a bit, but and maybe that was in response to something else I had said. I actually don't know where to go with that one. We use a lot of client-facing summaries too. Financial summary, client profile. That the manual input I think maybe where you're going with this is hey, we have to manually input all these things into an Excel. Right now we don't export to Excel. Maybe that's where you're going with this, with something like with a document. We don't push that into Excel yet. That is one of the things that we're considering on the roadmap though. So I'd love to hear more about that use case. We can push it a um, into a form, one of the jump forms, and then export that to a PDF. So I've talked with a few advisors about that, where they're saying, "Oh, well, we really like having a client profile, like a physical sheet that we put in front of their at the front of their file." So we could push data into a form like that, whether it be from a document or a meeting, and then export it to PDF, and you could use that as the initial profile. All right. Well, again, thanks everybody for hanging on. Nyland posted my email there. Actually, wait, that is not that is not my email now that I look at it.
Oh
So apologies
no.
to the other Luke at Jump. He beat me here, so I am luke.white@jumpapp.com. But
Oh no, I apologize, but I just put that in. Okay.
okay. Well, it'll make its way over to
It,
me.
it will. It will. We're small enough. We're kind
Yeah.
enough. Well,
Yeah.
it'll find its way to Luke White.
But yes, definitely feel free to reach out. Any questions and
Yeah.
appreciate the
And we'll
time
be
again.
following up with an email and a link to the recording for this. So you'll have a chance there to respond to us through the email. So okay. Well,
Awesome.
thanks
Well,
so
thanks a
much.
lot.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Thanks to Ali and Nathan for answering the questions. Thanks to everybody for jumping on today. We had a really great turnout and very excited to see the enthusiasm around Operate. So take care. Thank you.